Hello, my name is Mark Hamilton. I am here to bring you life-changing answers to questions that seem unanswerable and therefore go unanswered. At this early starting point, I envision helping you achieve your ambitions, to become profitable as an entrepreneur, or to climb at your place of work, or to succeed as a writer, artist, musician, or singer. That's my plan out of the starting gate. But I will occasionally drop in a more universal message that answers some of the currently unanswerable questions about our country today. I will try to limit those excursions to few and far between unless pulled deeper into that direction by popular demand. Today in my debut talk, I will answer why so many people feel stuck, and I will show you the way up. Today's talk centers on the person stuck in a job not able to rise up. Future talks will center on the entrepreneur who is stuck, as well as the writer, artist, singer, or musician who is stuck. So now, today's often unanswered question is, I'm stuck at my job and can never move up. What do I do? The question appeals to millions who are stuck. Okay, so let's break it down. You're stuck in a routine rut. What makes up that routine? Well, tasks, specialized tasks. Where do those specialized tasks come from? Well, usually from a boss or from upper management, right? In essence, you are told what to do. In most jobs, you are told what specialized tasks to do. And you follow what you're told to do. Now we're getting to the root of the problem. The following mode mentality. I'm going to enlighten you here. When you are in the following mode mentality, you will be and will forever remain stuck. Most people are stuck in the following mode mentality. In a future talk, I'll show you why that is. But today, I introduce you to the different mentality of those who rise up, the mentality of all big winners in life. It's the integrating self-leader mentality. Now, let's break that down. Whereas the following mentality is limited by specialized thinking, routinely doing its assigned specialized tasks. The self-leader mentality is unlimited by integrated thinking, dynamically integrating its own path and purpose. Integrated thinking is the mentality of the self-leader. It is the rare mentality of the few who make things happen and rise up. It is the opposite of the specialized thinking mentality of the masses, of the follower. The integrating mentality is new to most people, and therefore I've named it Neothink. The Neothink mentality. Every big winner in life uses the Neothink mentality. And I will help you make the transformation into the Neothink mentality, the mentality of winners. I'll begin with an example of how this Neothink mentality kicked in for a 15-year-old at his first job as a dishwasher. I worked the night shift that summer 50 years ago, washing dishes and cleaning the restaurant after it closed. When the restaurant closed for the day and I went out front to clean, the owner would sit in one of the booths. Night after night, I would hear him telling the manager that the restaurant was not going to make it. There weren't enough customers. He would say how he had trouble meeting payroll. As I heard this night after night, I started to look at the business differently. I started looking at it through numbers and income instead of through the stagnant tasks I performed. For instance, I would look out front during the day periodically to see how many customers were eating. As I did my routine rut, my mind started working differently, always thinking how the number of customers could somehow increase. I started to think about everything. What was on the menu, how the food was prepared, how the waitresses dressed and looked. I started looking at the customers and soon realized the customers were not locals. They were passing through our small town on their way to major destination points. I started thinking about everything. I even walked out front before work one day and studied the sign and the curb appeal. Here I was, in my first official job, a 15-year-old kid, quietly looking at all these things and thinking about them in terms of numbers of customers and income. I was not trying to save the restaurant per se. My mind just started working differently. One night after closing, I carried the bags of garbage out back. I had to lug the heavy bags across a very dark patch of desert dirt to the trash bin. This particular night, after weeks of seeing the restaurant, not through my dead-end tasks, not through my routine rut, but through all the areas of the business where the money could be, where the power was, I experienced what I called my first 10-second miracle. You see, on my way back up the stairs after taking out the trash, I turned around and looked at the black patch of dirt I had just walked over on my way back from the trash bin. Suddenly, in about 10 seconds, the answer to the restaurant's problems unfolded in my mind in the most unsuspecting way. Everything I had been seeing came snapping together into a puzzle picture. In my mind, I saw the customers, not as locals. Most were just passing through. I saw the curb appeal out front was nice, but only the width of the restaurant, with a hotel on the south side and a side street on the north side with a gas station on the north side of that side street. The front of the restaurant was on a major federal highway going north and south, so people did not want to come across that highway to the restaurant. So in about 10 seconds, I saw the problem was lack of parking. The space in front of the restaurant could handle 2 or 3 cars at the most and was always full. Once cars passed that spot, they could not park because of the hotel on one side and the side street and a gas station on the other side. And past the hotel or the gas station, the distance became too far and there were new restaurants with easier parking up ahead. At that point, those potential customers were forever lost. I looked back at the patch, that dark patch of dirt where the trash bins sat. That was the missing piece to the puzzle. Although it was too small to handle more than just a few cars, that wasn't the point. The breakthrough, I realized, was to get the passersby to turn onto the side street by placing a sign out front that said, "Free parking around back." And by the way, parking meters did line the 3 spots in front of the restaurant. So free parking around back. The dirt patch could be paved and offer customers free parking. Even if that little parking lot were constantly full, which is what I was hoping for, ample free parking awaited customers on both sides of the quiet side street. By seeing the free parking sign up front, cars would turn onto the side street to get to the parking lot. Full or not, they could find plenty of parking along that side street. Moreover, they were now committed to park and eat. We would now capture all those potential customers. I stood there on the steps to the back entrance and shook my head in awe with the whole puzzle picture in my head. I knew it would work. I walked in, and for the first time since I started working there, I talked to the owner. I said, "I know how to save your restaurant." He looked at me for an awkward moment, and then he told me to sit down in his booth. Instead of just telling him, I instinctively grabbed a napkin, asked for a pen, and I drew my whole vision on that napkin. Without realizing what I was doing, I drew out the puzzle picture that was in my head, including the front curb appeal, the problem with parking, the proposed free parking sign, the paved parking lot out back, the side street. I even drew out the 15 to 20 cars I envisioned parked around the little restaurant. Well, the owner sat there in awe. He knew I was right. The first thing that finally came out of his mouth was, "You ought to be the owner of this restaurant, not me." That summer I worked there, the restaurant was going out of business. But thanks to my 10-second miracle, that restaurant is still in business today, 50 years later. It still operates with the same free parking sign. What happened to me was rare, I must admit. Perhaps because of my young age and my constant exposure to the woes of the owner, I was able to suddenly see differently everything around me at work. I was able to see things from the perspective of the essence of the business. That is, how to increase profits. Not from the blind, dead-end perspective of my routine rut. Because of seeing the business from the perspective of its essence, the things I saw stayed in me and began, unbeknownst to me, to quietly integrate together into a puzzle of how to increase the business. Suddenly, the missing piece snapped into place when I walked through the dark patch of desert to the trash bin. The 10-second miracle occurred in my consciousness as the missing piece snapped into place and the puzzle picture filled my head. I did not know it then, but that was the next puzzle-building mentality in action, the Neo-Think mentality. I even drew my explanation for the owner on a napkin because the new mentality works beyond words. It works in pictures. As a 15-year-old boy, I experienced integrated thinking for the first time. When the pieces all came together, a puzzle picture was revealed, and I experienced that 10-second miracle that saved the restaurant. And it kept that restaurant going profitably for another 2 generations and still going strong. In the years that followed, I learned just how rare that experience was. The average mind just does not work that way. We are held back because of our following mode that does not integrate, a way of viewing the world most of us are stuck in. We're stuck, and that's why you ask that question. I am stuck at my job. What do I do? Think about it. The dishwasher views his job by what is directly before his eyes, his boring, repetitive tasks. He doesn't view his place of work beyond that rut, by its essence, by its exciting, money-making essence. The mind just doesn't go there. Learning how to do this, how to see the essence of things around you, starting at work, is going to bring out the hidden talents and potential you have inside of you. Our minds don't naturally go there because our minds do not naturally integrate knowledge. Our minds merely react to our routine tasks, our boring routine rut. Well, I want to get your mind working this different way. However, don't fool ourselves here. This goes beyond willing your mind to do this. Because of our following mode, our minds need to develop and have the tools to make the shift. And that's what I'm going to bring you here on my channel over the next few weeks. My mind worked differently than the other dishwashers. They did their specialized tasks as told. They followed, I integrated. Needless to say, I quickly rose up in life. And I'm going to teach you how to break free from specialized thinking into this integrated thinking, this Neo-Think mentality, so you too rise up. I'm going to help you make the leap into the Neo-Think mentality right here on my channel. You see, for 5 decades, I've worked exclusively bringing the secret transformation to my members only. Now, I will bring the transformation to subscribers of my channel. Basically, I will free you from living as modern-day slaves to the system, to today's business structure, to today's political structure. Of course, I may get maligned online from those threatened from my rising self-leaders, threatened by you. But I made the executive decision to emerge from my 50 years of secrecy to provide the leap into the Neo-Think mentality publicly because of the state of things today. Here I will help you leap from the prevailing following mentality where the power class wants to keep you there, I'm going to take you from that through the transformation into the Neothink mentality, where all the big winners in life live. So be sure to subscribe below.